As the night's drawing, it's a good time to do another head torch roundup, this time of cheap Chinese tactical head torches, the ones that can be used as a torch as well as a head torch. They're usually a bit more bulkier and aluminium. So I've got a roundup between the Sofirn H25LR and the Wurkkos HD15R, which is what I'm using here, and this is the Sofirn. The Wurkkos has got better features, it's got a power bank, got longer run time. Altogether it's a better torch. So that's the end of the video, so I'll speak to you soon, and like and subscribe. No, I don't believe the hype. Don't believe everything you read in the specs. Lies, damn lies, statistics, and tactical Chinese head torch specs. Still here. I decided to do, on this very cold dark night, a roundup of the two tactical head torches I have. One is the Sofirn, which is what I got first, and then everyone was telling me, oh, you should get a better torch, so they said get this one, which is the Wurkkos H15R. Both of them are what's called CRI, high color rendering index torches. They have very accurate LEDs in them, made of Samsung, I think. I don't know about the red torch, but the white one is made from Samsung. And you have a red torch. The Wurkkos has also flashing and beacon modes, which I never find particularly useful myself, but some people love those. I really got them because I wanted a torch that's got a stronger red light. The red light is a 660 nanometer light, which means it is very deep red, which means apparently better for night sight, and it's used in astrophotography. It certainly looks better than the sort of usual orangey light like you would get on the Energizer, and you can see a review of the Energizer HD Ultra on the screen now. So I wanted to get something that was a stronger red light, which both of these have. In fact, they're probably about equal, of about 150 lumens strongest, stepping through sort of 1, 30, 40, sort of 1%, 10%, 50%, 100% roughly. Unfortunately, the Sofirn doesn't mention exact lumens of red, but the other one does, and it seems to be about the same. As I said, the Wurkkos can also be used as a power bank. You can charge things off it. They both use the 18650's battery, the one that looks like a cross between a sort of oversized AA battery. There are some issues about charging those. You have to be careful, and you may want to get a protected battery, but I've not had any problems. But just be careful. Charge them. I usually charge mine in a metal tin just in case something goes boom. Well, both of them, you can charge them on the move. Both have got USB-C ports, which is very useful. I really like the capacity of the batteries. They last for ages. In fact, they seem to be very durable because I've got a solar light outside which comes on every night. It's sort of activated by movement, but it comes on regularly. And I had those up for about, before the lockdown, so at least 4 or 5 years, and they're fine. It's apparently about 50,000 recharge cycles, but take that sort of specs with a pinch of salt. Both head torches come with a 3000 mAh battery, their own make, but very similar. Although I bought another one because I didn't really trust their own make, but I found their own sort of rebadged batteries are really good. The Wurkkos is a little bit different in the fact that it has a different form factor. It sort of is angled because it's got irreplaceable tubes. This tube bit is replaceable. It's getting very warm. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. The replaceable tubes, you can actually run the smaller batteries in this. The 18350s, the Wurkkos goes up to a claimed, and this is the first red flag, 1100 lumen. It doesn't. It goes up to about 760, 730. Various people have measured it to around 700, mid 700s. The Sofirn goes up to, well, it claims 500 lumen. It actually goes up to nearly 600 lumen as people who've reviewed it have measured it. 300-ish, or 130, 300-ish, and then 500, something like that. Each of those is actually better than what it says. Unlike the Wurkkos claims all these highfalutin, amazing specs, and actually no, it's much lower. So that's a kind of a bad mark for the Wurkkos. The Sofirn comes with a head strap and a cable, and that's pretty much it. A very tiny manual with not very much information in. Whereas the Wurkkos comes with a clip, extra O-rings, a shorter body for the smaller version of the battery, the 18350 I think it is. A lanyard. I hate lanyards, they're like stickers. What is the point of lanyards? And a nice box, and it also runs slightly longer. It's like 4 hours 45 on the high setting, about 2 hours 45 on the turbo setting. Now the Sofirn doesn't have a turbo setting because it only goes up to 500, 590 lumen, and it steps down after about a minute to about 300-ish lumen, which might bother you. It goes on for just over 4 hours on the highest setting, which is pretty good. So it really depends what you want. I think if you want a head torch, then you probably should go with a Sofirn. And if you want a torch, but not really bothered about the head torch part of it, then look at the Wurkkos. The reasons for that are, although the specs are better for the Wurkkos, the actual ease of use is a nightmare. The torch has a really bad UI. It's weird to talk about an UI of a torch because it's like, it's a torch. But when I got it, I couldn't switch it on because it was locked. It has a lock mode, which is one of the reasons I got it. But the problem is the lock mode is 4 short clicks, but you have to kind of time them very, very well, and click it very quickly and in a certain way to unlock it. And I spent 5 minutes trying to unlock the torch, which is what you don't want. If you're in a hurry or you need some light, you can get a sort of a quick moonlight thing if you press the button for long in the lock mode, but it's only like the 1 lumen thing. That's not so great. So it's like it's up to 4 clicks, and there's a real combination, and in each mode it's all context sensitive, that different things will happen if you've got it on, that are off, or which of the modes you're in. And I just found that really difficult. And also the headband is terrible. Rather than this one with a single band that goes around, like the classic head torch has a strap that goes over, which is not as comfortable. I always find those really annoying. And it's heavier. So the Sofirn is 50 grams. I was surprised. It says 70 or 80 in the specs. I actually measured it on my scales. I've got some accurate jewelers digital scales, and it came out 50 for the Sofirn and 76 for the Wurkkos, and with everything in as you would use it, which is a headlamp, battery and all that chisel, it's 116 for the Sofirn and really amazingly chunky 150 something grams. So it's just too heavy to wear as a head torch. And unlike this, which has a really nice, you can probably hear that, it's got like a really nice click angle thing, so you can actually adjust the angle. The Wurkkos has nothing like that. The headband is horrible. It's the thing that lets it down, as well as the UI of the torch. It's very hard to get the torch into the headband to begin with. I'm probably going to have to do that in a minute to try and get it into here. and this is little loops here. I'm actually dreading that, trying to get the head. I might just leave it out to just use it with my hand. And also the smaller size doesn't fit the headband properly. You can sort of squeeze it in and and move the rings over, but the rings are spaced too far apart to use it properly. I wouldn't trust it not to fall out. So it's a disappointment because I actually got some small batteries. I haven't got them with me, but I was like, oh yeah, smaller form factor, smaller weight, and I haven't weighed what that is in the smaller one, but I suspect it's probably going to be something comparable to the Sofirn. But obviously losing the benefit of having the bigger battery to take with you. And when we're talking like 116, that's about the weight of my existing Energizer. So it's not too heavy. It's maybe a little bit more, but you've got aluminium. They're both sort of industrial grade aluminium in them. The other thing that this Wurkkos is supposed to have temperature regulation, and actually I find in practice it gets really hot, so that's not really working that well. I think that's bullshit. The other thing is the ratings. They lie about the ratings on their marketing. They say IPX8, which actually when you get the torch or you look at the reviews, you'll see it says IPX68. I don't know if it's a typo, but it's a bit like, right. And the Sofirn is IPX6. So they're very similar. And actually, when you look at the comparable modes, they are very similar. And the red torches are almost identical. Obviously, you've got the flash and beacon modes on the Wurkkos. It is very easy to get to. I really wish the red modes were, because that's one of the problems I have. The red modes can't be accessed through a single click like the Sofirn. The Sofirn, you press and hold and get immediately into the red. It's much more simpler. Short click goes to white, you press and hold to cycle through. The same for red, except it's a long click to get to the red. Really need a torch that goes straight to red. You immediately go to white, you killed your night sight. It's better to be able to go straight to red, which as far as I can tell, you can't do that with the Wurkkos. I think that's pretty much everything, and it's more expensive. So the Sofirn is cheaper. The Sofirn, with their current coupon, you could get for about $21, and the Wurkkos is about $28 with their current deal. But you get a free holder. So yeah, as I say, if you really want just a tactical type torch with a magnet as well, the Wurkkos has a magnet on it, so you can sort of clamp it to metal things. If you've got any metal things to clamp it in the middle of a wood, you won't. Where I am at the moment, there is nothing to clamp it to, but I'm going to sell the Wurkkos. It's not a good headlamp. It's a good torch that can be used as a headlamp, but it's not very good as a headlamp. The way it's designed, it's very hard to rotate the thing because the straps are so tight rubber, so it's hard to get in, and also it's hard to rotate. There isn't a way of rotating the Wurkkos. And as I say, the smaller version, which is what I really partly bought it for, doesn't really work. And I find in practice, the Sofirn stays cooler, whereas the Wurkkos actually gets quite warm. Some people say that the Sofirn has got like a greener light. It doesn't really bother me. And this one has more of a warmer light. I've not really noticed that. They're both quite strong lights, and they seem to be pretty accurate colour-wise. I was shining it at a white wall yesterday, and I didn't really notice a massive cast to it. I would as an eyes. But if you're going ultralight, that probably wouldn't be the best choice for you. Maybe look at one of the plastic ones. In practice, not a massive weight difference, really. By the time you've got the plastic and the batteries, it's the batteries that really cost. And I think there is a real weight saving to be had with a rechargeable battery like the 18650, I think it is. And it seems to last for ages. I've been using it at home. I'd usually have to replace the AAs or recharge them every couple of weeks. I've not had to do that with a Sofirn. I did for this, but I didn't have to do it. The batteries were perfectly fine. It hadn't really gone sort of dim or super dim. Certainly the red modes it hadn't. So, and it was still showing green because each of these has a battery checker. So you can, if you press, when you switch them on, you can see, they'll go green or red to show you what you've got. So yes, don't believe the hype. lies, damn lies, statistics and torch specs. There's a lot of people who are recommending the Wurkkos over the Sofirn, and it's kind of sad because the Sofirn, I think, is the better head torch, whereas, as I say, the Wurkkos is just better spec, but in practice let down by a bad UI and a bad headband. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this. I'm getting very cold and get some food. Like and subscribe, and thank you those who have liked and subscribed. See you soon.